Thanks, Rakesh. Can you hear me?
Yes, you're all good, Shail.
Great. No, thanks for the introduction, and thanks for everyone for joining Nalanda 2.0 AMA meeting. We really appreciate it. I know it's a weekend, and so really value your time and participation in today's meeting. I'd like to begin by first thanking all our donors. We have received gifts from over 1,075 donors, mostly individuals such as those in this group, but also from corporations who have matched the contributions of employees in their respective companies, and grants from foundations like the Tersadia Foundation, Guru Kripa Foundation, and the Deshpande Foundation. These gifts have enabled us to advance our mission. So thank you so much. As Rakesh mentioned earlier, I started Nalanda 2.0 in 2016, 1 year after publishing my book, Building Golden India, How to Unleash India's Vast Potential and Transform its Higher Education System Now. This is a mission for me, and I have dedicated past 8 years of my life in full-time efforts to this cause. I'm pleased to mention that all this effort is making an impact. The NEP 2020, which was approved by the cabinet in last year, incorporates most of our key recommendations that we have been sharing with key officials and leaders since inception. Working with the government of NCT of Delhi, we developed a draft report for reforming the higher education system in Delhi. We have been educating stakeholders about the urgency and importance of the mission. And a lot of that is again reflected in NEP 2020, incorporating a lot of these key recommendations. And finally, we are poised to launch a first of its kind multidisciplinary research university in India in 2022. And I'll delve into each of these a little bit more as I share a more detailed update. First of all, we believe that the first step towards solving a problem is to acknowledge it. So we have been working since the launch of the book, writing blogs, writing articles with the aim of educating stakeholders. We have spoken at several conferences, organized talks, and interactive sessions at various companies, conducted and participated in several webinars and interviews. And besides the impressions and the reach of this effort, it's amazing how these things actually connect back to the various initiatives we have been working on. As an example, when I was speaking at the IIT Leadership Conference in 2017, a student from Berkeley who attended that meeting came to me and said, look, this is really important. We are organizing a conference in Berkeley. We would like you to be a panelist at the Berkeley India Conference. So I was one of the panelists along with several key leaders. That panel also included Montek Singh Ahluwalia, the former deputy chairman of the Planning Commission of India. In that panel, I made the case for building multidisciplinary research universities in India. And in the same forum, Mr. Mukesh Aki was present. He's the president of US-India Strategic Partnership Forum. And the case I made in the panel and separately with Mukesh led Mukesh to invite me to a meeting with the former chief minister of, at that time, chief minister of Andhra Pradesh, Chandrababu Naidu. And that series of meetings led me to the point where it said, let's build a university in India, a multidisciplinary research university in India. So I'm sharing this example of how one thing has led to another thing in sort of very interesting ways. And equally interesting, both Mukesh Aghi and Montek Singh Ahluwalia are all on the global advisory board of the university initiative. Again, policy level interventions can make an impact at scale. So as I mentioned earlier, we have been advocating for new approaches and policies, and I have met with key leaders and officials at the Prime Minister's office, the Niti Aayog, as well as the drafting committee of the new educational policy and various state leaders. Again, as I mentioned, we are delighted that NEP report, NEP 2020, incorporates most of our major recommendations. Again, we have been advocating for world-class multidisciplinary research universities in India, and that is one of the central tenets of NEP 2020, among other recommendations. We've also been working with the government of NCT of Delhi since 2018. We established a high-level committee, engaged stakeholders, and actually developed a very comprehensive draft report for reforming the education system in Delhi. However, efforts were stalled due to COVID-19. Just about the time we submitted the draft report for public review, COVID-19 struck. And that is a segue to a lot of decisions we made in March 2020. We said, international travel, of course, was affected heavily. The government machinery was entirely focused on COVID-19 response. So we made the choice, a decision to singularly focus on building the University of the Future in India, which was the code name for what we now call Ekagrid. So now we are singularly focused on Ekagrid, and I'm delighted to say that despite COVID-19, we are gathering steam. The team that we started in the beginning, we have assembled an exceptional team. We started with about 20 global advisory board members. Now that has grown to about 60 professional leaders in India, Australia, Singapore, UAE, and the US. We have developed an action plan, and we continue to fine-tune that action plan, actionable plan for building Ekagrid. Obviously, we have to locate the university in one particular city, state, and we did an extensive review of about 20 cities in India. We narrowed down to a few, and we deeply engaged with several state governments, and we were till October, as in a few weeks back, deeply engaged with the Karnataka government and the Telangana government. We have established a Section 8 company, which is a non-profit organization in India, which is similar to the 501c3 in US. We have the basic legal and administrative infrastructure in place. As you can see, we have an incredible and attractive Ekagrid brand logo designed. We've also registered the trademarks. We have received key endorsements of leaders such as Dr. Kasturi Rangan, who is the former chairman of Indian Space Research Organization, and equally importantly, the chairman of the drafting committee of the National Education Policy. And we have also, as part of that endorsement, received Dr. Anil Sharspurde, who is the chairman of AICTE, which is a key regulatory agency in India. And a few months back, we established the first MOU with the Research Center, the premier research university, and we expect to do more of these in the future. Dr. Paul Raj is going to be the founding chancellor for Ekagrid. He is Professor Emeritus at Stanford University and the inventor of MIMO wireless technology, which underpins all 4G, 5G, and Wi-Fi networks globally. He's a Padma Bhushan awardee and winner of many international awards like the Marconi Prize and the Alexander Graham Bell Award. He's done several startups. He's also in the National Inventor Hall of Fame. He will help set the benchmark for excellence and impact for Ekagrid. I'm going to be the Chief Operating Officer and Chief Development Officer of Ekagrid, and we have an exceptional board of directors that includes Dr. Anil Kakotkar, the Padma Vibhushan and former chairman of the Atomic Energy Commission of India, Dr. Jazir Vasi, former director of IIT Bombay, and Dr. Anand Deshpande, the founder, chairman, and managing director of Persistent Systems. Very recently, we have received the 12A and 80G approvals, which basically allows us to give tax exemption for donations received in India for Ekagrid. I am delighted to say that in just last few days and weeks, we have reached an agreement with the Karnataka government to launch Ekagrid in Bangalore. So our whole target now is to make this happen in 2022. This has been a major effort. It has taken a lot of time, energy, and patience on our part, but we are simply delighted that we will be in Bangalore in 2022. Bangalore is a very exciting place with a vibrant ecosystem, research, startup ecosystem, great weather, internationally connected. I think it's going to be an attractive location for best and the brightest minds to be faculty members at Ekagrid when we launch. So our future plans are really clear and focused. It is everything that we need to do to launch Ekagrid in Bangalore in 2022, which is to secure the land and finalize the regulatory approvals. And we have the government support for that. We have just secured that, but we need to take it to the next step. We are raising $130 million in phase one fundraising to get the university up and running. We will be selecting a vice chancellor who will be the CEO of the university and the founding team beyond the founding chancellor and the founding chief operating officer and chief development officer. That's my role. We will be in parallel developing our digital platform strategy and establishing additional partnership with premier research universities around the world. To enable that, we'll also be raising about $200,000 for Nalanda 2.0 to make all of this happen. So that's a quick summary of all the activities we have been focused on, all the various ways we have made an impact, and our future plans. There are different ways to support this mission. Of course, we would love to have you engage with what we are doing through social media, spreading the word with your friends. Now that our focus is very, very clear, even more clear than we had a few years back, you can make a contribution or you can help fundraise for Nalanda 2.0. I'd like to close by thanking all the Nalanda 2.0 core team volunteers who have dedicated their time, energy, and enthusiasm in bringing us to this stage where we are today. So I wanted to close with a big thanks to the team. Many of them are here. And this is a huge team effort. And I'm really delighted that we have such an exciting, passionate group of volunteers amongst us. That's all from my side, Rakesh, and I think it's now for question and answers.